This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, passenger flights have resumed between Wanaka and Christchurch after a 7-year hiatus. One person has died and 11 have been injured in an annual fundraising motorcycle trek. And Queenstown's X Factor scenery is set to be showcased as makers of the Xbox gaming console release their new machine. Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi o te ahiahi nei, kia ora. I'm Simon Anderson. After a 7-year break, passenger flights have resumed between Wanaka and Christchurch. Community leaders are hoping the new venture will be a success, and the local MP even made a point today of catching a flight both ways.
So welcome guys, have a nice flight, looks like a perfect day, and we'll see you again.
The first passenger flight from Wanaka to Christchurch in 7 years took off at 8 a.m. this morning. Both Queenstown Mayor Jim Bolt and Queenstown Airport CEO Colin Keel say it's a positive step for Wanaka to have passenger services on offer again after Air New Zealand pulled out in 2013.
I think this is right for Wanaka, and good to see some local residents out here using it this morning.
It's really a standalone service, and it's really about connecting, Wanaka beyond to New Zealand, in this case Christchurch. And listen, I think it's a great opportunity to start this service. Seems to have great community support, and I think so many of us are really excited about it.
Wanaka Airport is managed by neighbouring Queenstown Airport, but the CEO says they're not looking at expanding the passenger service to Queenstown. Despite the current absence of overseas tourists, he believes the Sounds air service is likely to be a success.
It might be counterintuitive to start a new service given what we've been dealing with COVID, but I actually think it's a perfect opportunity to reconnect folks across the country, and that's why we're so excited about it. I think it really gives a real uplift to any community to have a new air service starting.
Each flight is about 50 minutes, and recently re-elected Waitaki MP Jackie Dean took the opportunity to fly to Christchurch and back on the first day of operation.
Oh, it's wonderful. It was a very smooth flight. It's a beautiful plane, and the people on the plane were super excited to be able to land in Wanaka with a flight which takes something between 50 minutes and 45-50 minutes rather than driving for hours and hours and hours.
The Sounds air flights between Wanaka and Christchurch cost between $100 and $300. In Wanaka, the South Today.
Dunedin MP David Clark is back in Cabinet after being given new roles which Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern says better suit his skill set. Dr Clark, who is number 19 on the list, has been given a swag of new portfolios: commerce and consumer affairs, digital economy and communications, and state-owned enterprises. He resigned as Health Minister in July after finding himself in the headlines, including for breaching COVID-19 lockdown rules. Former OUSA President Grant Robertson has been named as Deputy Prime Minister alongside his role as Finance Minister. Robertson grew up in Dunedin, attending King's High School before studying at the University of Otago. Former Dunedin resident and first-time MP Dr Ayesha Viral has been promoted straight into Cabinet as an Associate Minister of Health. What began as a fundraising charity motorcycle ride for Tokomareoro High School took a tragic turn at the weekend. One rider died and another 11 were injured, including 2 who had to be helicoptered to Dunedin Hospital.
Riders taking part in the annual Milton Lake to Sea ride left Melbourne 9:30 Saturday morning. But by about noon, 2 distress beacons had been set off. Riversdale man, 52-year-old Lindsay Roy, was killed while riding in the forest area of the track. Mr Roy has been described as an experienced rider who is unlikely to have been taking undue risks. Police say 2 further crashes were found within 150 metres of each other as emergency services progressed through rugged terrain towards Mr Roy. Another 11 people suffered injuries during the event. 2 were airlifted by helicopter to Dunedin Hospital, 1 in a serious condition and the other in a moderate condition. The event is in its 18th year and is a fundraiser for the Tokomareiro High School's PTA. PTA chairwoman Lynn Johnston says the rider's death has devastated organisers and their sympathies go out to Mr Roy's families. The death has been referred to the coroner and inquiries are continuing into the circumstances of the crashes. In Balclutha, the South Today.
Police have confirmed the death of a woman in Invercargill on Thursday is not suspicious. Police cordoned off this Tay Street property as well as one in nearby Grace Street after the body of a woman was discovered at a Grace Street property. Initially, the death was treated as unexplained. In a statement released on Saturday, Acting Detective Senior Sergeant Greg Beard confirmed the death of the woman was not suspicious. The matter will be referred to the coroner. Queenstown looks set to backdrop the promotion of a new gaming console. With the latest Microsoft Xbox only a week away, something with a certain X factor is being built on Queenstown's waterfront.
This mysterious temporary structure, erected on the Queenstown waterfront, is related to a gaming console. Scaffolders dressed in wetsuits started building the steel structure just beyond the pier for $1 Million Cruise last week. It's understood to be part of a marketing campaign for the Xbox. Xbox are due to launch the premium Xbox Series X and cheaper Xbox Series S consoles on the 10th of November. The X console retails for pre-order at around $799 and is said by gaming experts to be the franchise's most powerful product yet, with vastly superior processing capability and huge memory storage. A smaller, less powerful version called Series S is retailing at $549 on pre-order. The new PlayStation 5 is set to be released 2 days after the Xbox. And also scheduled for release next week is a new Xbox game called Greenstown. While not much is known about the game, it appears to be modelled on New Zealand's adventure capital of Queenstown, and may also be related to this mysterious waterfront structure. In Queenstown, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, crowds fizz at Dunedin's Craft Beer Festival and school pupils have gathered at Toitu to learn just what makes the bus on the wheels go round. Ka kite a konei.
Hi, Alec Campbell Menswear. We're back in George Street on the corner of Hanover Street. Come and check out our big store. It's a big space full of bargains. Now look at these shirts. There's shirts for everybody here. Look at these merino pullovers, stacks of moleskins, literally tons of trousers. And check out these big racks of sports jackets. Beautiful.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So come and check out Alec Campbell Menswear. We're back on George Street in the old ANZ building.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Hoki Mai Noa. Organisers say this year's Dunedin Craft Beer and Food Festival was a resounding success. Hosted by the Otago University Students Association, the two-day event was sold out on both days, last Friday and Saturday. Each day saw 6,000 craft beer fans trialling food and drink from 65 vendors at Forsyth Bar Stadium. Food options included Burger Plant, the Christchurch-based Smoke and Barrel, and the Cheese Roll Lady. Organisers say the success of this year's festival vindicated last year's move to extend the previously one-day annual event across 2 days. School pupils swarmed around the transport wing of Dunedin's Toitū Museum recently. The youngsters gathered to learn how transport to and from school could become more sustainable.
The almost 50-year-old Tiger T bus was just one of the means of transportation being studied by about 30 primary school pupils who visited Dunedin's Toitū Museum last week. They were part of an Enviro Schools program to evaluate the sustainability of different methods of travel.
And students are thinking about which forms of energy are sustainable, or which modes of transport are sustainable, and what's using non-sustainable energy to drive those modes of transport.
A survey had been conducted at the various schools the pupils came from to find out who walked, biked, scooted or came by car or bus to school.
They're going to be thinking about all the ways that students come to school and some of the things that they can do differently around their school so that students are using more sustainable modes of transport, so for example public transport or walking or scootering or biking to school, and thinking about how they can promote that in their school and maybe thinking about the walking routes that students can take to school.
As a result, pupils were able to see how transportation to and from school could be changed in the future and become more sustainable. In Dunedin, the South Today.
The Otago Regional Rescue Helicopter Service rescued almost 300 more patients in the past year than the year before. The Rescue Helicopter Trust's annual report shows more than 1,300 people were rescued over the last year, up by 11% on the previous year. Both medical emergencies and hospital transfers increased. Over the last year, the Trust received almost $820,000 in community donations, with $350,000 coming as an annual donation from the Otago Regional Council. The Trust says COVID-19 prevented some fundraising events this year. Whai Ake Nei, Southern-based motorcyclist Courtney Duncan is crowned world champion for the second year riding. And we have a look at tomorrow's weather. Hea koko Ake Nei.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Step into Shop on Carol and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Hi, Alec Campbell Menswear. We're back in George Street on the corner of Hanover Street. Come and check out our big store. It's a big space full of bargains. Now look at these shirts. There's shirts for everybody here. Look at these merino pullovers, stacks of moleskins, literally tons of trousers. Check out these big racks of sports jackets. Beautiful.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So come and check out Alec Campbell Menswear. We're back on George Street in the old ANZ building.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر
Ino rangatira mā. Dunedin rider Courtney Duncan has defended her Women's World Motocross Championship title, but it took tremendous guts and the ride of her life to even stay in the hunt. The 24-year-old had the worst possible start in the penultimate race of the series in Italy during the weekend. After another rider cut in front of her, Duncan lost her balance, clipped the back of another rider's bike and thumped into the turf. Then, picking up her Kawasaki KX250, she rode the only way she knows how. Duncan made her way from the very back of the field, taking tough lines into corners, making double jumps and bold passing manoeuvres. The Palmerston prodigy is set to return to New Zealand next week and begin her 2-week quarantine, where she might be able to reflect on being crowned world champion for a second straight year. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. Passenger flights have resumed between Wanaka and Christchurch after a 7-year hiatus, pleasing local tourists. 1 person has died and 11 have been injured in the school's annual fundraising motorcycle trek. And Queenstown's X Factor scenery is set to be showcased as makers of the Xbox gaming console release their new machine. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, we have Hayden Meikle with us this evening. Go to Hayden.
Good evening, Simon. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Good, good. Big day of news, as always, and a big day for Grant Robertson, the boy from Dunedin, King's High School. Very proud day for the school. Grant confirmed as Deputy Prime Minister, which I suppose a lot of us had and sort of predicted was coming. Kelvin Davis will stay as Deputy Leader of the party, but Grant, look, he's been a very able deputy to Jacinda Ardern, a very capable finance minister. We've had a chat to him today and he says it's lovely, so I think he must be reasonably excited about it. But it's good for Grant. It's nice for the South to have a face right at the top table. So Mike Houlihan, our political writer, is looking at the whole makeup of Ardern's cabinet, who's in, who's out. Obviously David Clark is basically back in with a role. Yeah. Who's jumped over who, and it's really interesting. We'll have a full sort of graphic of who holds the ministerial roles. So always an interesting time of year. As we're seeing passenger air travel returning to Wanaka, so that's exciting for the folks up there, lovely part of the world. 10,000 children's books have been distributed to South Dunedin schools, learning centres, organisations, so that's a lot of books, a lot of good reading for those kids, which is great. And look, it's Melbourne Cup Day tomorrow, which means it's Wingatui Racing Day tomorrow. Probably not quite the excitement levels it used to have in the days where a train would go out there and there'd be all sorts of hijinks, but I'm sure you and the other millennial Simon will be out there having a bit of fun tomorrow and enjoying a few races.
That's great, Hayden. Thank you very much. And time now for a look at tomorrow's weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by MoleMap.
Looking at the situation, a northerly airflow will bring milder temperatures and increasing humidity to the region tomorrow and Wednesday as a trough of low pressure develops in the eastern Tasman Sea. It's all rain up north though, I'm afraid. Greymouth and Westport experience a wet 16 and 17 degrees tomorrow. Rain 2 in Nelson and Blenheim, both on 16 degrees. And the showers even extend to northern Canterbury. Kaikoura on 15, Christchurch on 13 degrees, Ashburton has cloud and 15. Heading to the southern towns, along the coast the Catlins can expect fresh northeasterlies, cloudy skies and a high of 15 degrees. Balclutha is in for mild northeasterlies with some cloud and a high of 17. Further inland, Lumsden and Gore are forecast to have moderate northerlies with some high cloud and highs of 19 degrees. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes region, Wanaka, Queenstown and Alexandra are all in for moderate northerlies with some high cloud and 21 degrees. Chano can expect light northerlies with cloudy skies and a high of 18. Travelling northwards, along the coast, Timaru and Oamaru can look forward to fine weather with moderate northeasterlies and a high of 16 degrees. Further inland, it's moderate northerlies and high cloud for both Omarama and Twizel with a high of 19 degrees. Dunedin can expect a cloudy evening tonight with an overnight low of 9 degrees. It'll be cloudy at first tomorrow, but the sun will start to shine as the morning progresses, and it's mostly sunny skies from the early afternoon with breezy northeast winds, a high of 15 and a low of 9. And it should be fine on Wednesday with sunny periods and some cloud and moderate northeasterlies, a nice high of 20 and a low of 10. And in Invercargill, fine tonight with an overnight low of 6 degrees. It should be mostly fine and sunny tomorrow with scattered cloud at times. Expect light winds and pleasant temperatures, a high of 17 and a low of 7. Expect milder northerlies to start freshening on Wednesday with high cloud increasing during the day, a high of 20 and a low of 11 degrees. And that's the news this Monday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Nō reira, kia pai tupo, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.